Eric has more on Cannon. Eric, you standing by?
Yeah, I am. Here's what's going on, Rob. In case you're just tuning in here, former Charlotte Mayor Patrick Cannon has been sentenced to 44 months in federal prison. That breaks down to 3 years. 8 months. That decision just coming down. Just heard from U.S. Attorney Ann Tompkins talking about the sentence, thought that it was a fair sentence. The question becomes, where does he serve? Let's bring in Corey Rosensteel now, our legal analyst here on Fox 46. I heard a couple of different places, minimum security prisons. One in Butner, which is, of course, north of Durham. Edgefield, South Carolina, maybe Beckley, West Virginia. Again, that's another thing to be worked out here as we get ready to roll into that. And also, when does he report? That's the other question at play here that we still don't know.
That's right, and the judge apparently did give a recommendation that he would be held in a prison that was in the area. Okay. And so that's why I think that these guesses about some of these more local prisons that's advantageous for the convicted person, but it's also advantageous for the family because the family wants to be able to go. And certainly when you've got somebody that's got little kids, as a judge, you know, the judge is a human being as well. The judge thinks about these types of things, and the judge wants what's best for society. And so one of the things that would be in consideration is, does this person still have an active role in the family life? Is there an ability to be there for a child, to be in an area where he can be visited? And that's something that's potentially in the works for Cannon at this point.
So this Judge Whitney, he had a reputation for being, you know, stiff, for being, you know, just laying the law down. Forever Frank, I believe, is one of his one of the nicknames. That's not the case today. You're looking at under the guideline. Granted, 2 months, but nonetheless, it's still under the guideline. And you think that points to the fact that possibly Cannon, you know, gave up some information that's going to be quite useful for the feds going forward.
I think that's the most likely explanation. Certainly, when you're in there as the attorney, you would like to connect with the judge on an intellectual level. You'd like to say to the judge, look, there are specific laws that point to an idea that my client should get the minimum sentence. But you're also looking at an emotional level with a judge, and you're talking about, look, we've got family members, we've got community members who are here to talk about my client, or letters from multiple community members who talk positively about my client. We heard today that there were Sunday school teachers involved. I mean, that's an opportunity to connect with the judge on an emotional level. But I think if you're going to point to one thing in this case that probably drove the judge to give a more lenient sentence, and of course we're still talking about several years in jail.
Sure.
I mean, he didn't let him off with a slap on the wrist, but if you're looking at one thing, I think it's probably cooperation. It's probably ongoing and full cooperation with the U.S. Attorney's Office.
You look at New Orleans, Ray Nagin did not cooperate, got 10 years. You look at Rod Blagojevich, did not cooperate, got, I believe, 14 years. So, again, cooperation's key here. It's a huge part of what just happened here today.
I think that's safe to say. I think that's safe to say. We have a couple indications of that. One is that the U.S. Attorney Ann Tompkins said afterward that this is an ongoing investigation that she's not willing to comment on. But we also saw inside the hearing, inside the actual sentencing hearing, the U.S. Attorney's Office asking for that reduction, that sentence that's below the guidelines. And I think those are two strong indications that there was good cooperation in this case.
Great insight from Corey Rosensteel as we have this certainly big story and the other, the weather out there. Nick Koster standing by. A tornado warning going on for the next, what, about 5 minutes or so, set to expire at that point?
Set to expire at 1:30, and this storm system, I'll tell you what, it keeps on kind of weakening and then reorganizing a little bit. It's going back and forth. At this point, it looks like it's in one of those periods where it's dying out just a little bit, as there's no extremely well-defined hook echo. But I'll tell you what, if you are on the west side of Cleveland County, the south and west side of Cleveland County especially, definitely be in a safe spot at this point. And also, if you're on the east side of Rutherford County, same thing goes for you. Make sure that you're in an area that is away from the windows on the interior part of your house or whatever building, work office, structure, as this system continues to push north and east at around 35 miles per hour or so. There it is. This is just again to the east of Rutherford County, now generally in the western edge of Cleveland County. And yeah, okay, now it does look like we are seeing a little bit more in the way of maybe a well-defined area of rotation. 9 minutes from now, Newhouse, Camp Call, Polkville, 5 points in about 16 minutes. Delight in just about 20 minutes, and same with Cleveland Mills could potentially be feeling the effects of this storm. As Rob mentioned, a lot of rain with this system as well. Still, and I've been monitoring things very closely here in the Weather Center, we haven't gotten any confirmations of the fact that a tornado is on the ground. So at this point, this is all rotation that we are seeing from up above on Doppler radar. That's not to downplay the fact that this is a dangerous environment. That is just putting the facts out there. I haven't seen the velocity scan in a while. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if Rob can maybe pop that up. And okay, as Rob said, you want to see bright green meeting red. So right here, it looks like that is the best potential area for that rotation. It's not 100% impressive, but it is something to be concerned with. And again, this is pushing north and east at 35 miles per hour. And again, this is almost right smack dab in the middle of Shelby and Rutherfordton at this point. This warning is in place until 1:30. So that's about 4 minutes from now, 4 minutes from now. There you go, almost 10 miles to the west of Shelby. So again, we'll see what the National Weather Service wants to do about this. Potentially, it could extend it and push this polygon a little further north and east. We'll see what Rob Eicher has to say right now. Rob, we'll kick it over to you in the Weather Center there in the newsroom.
Yeah, keeping an eye on an updates from the National Weather Service to see what they're going to do with this warning. It is set to expire here in just a couple of minutes. As you were pointing out, still some signs of rotation. It's very, very weak, but right there along the Rutherford-Cleveland County line, more like just barely in the Cleveland side. Just want to let everyone know, in case you're over in Salisbury or Albemarle or Charlotte, and you're wondering, well, where is this in relation to me? It is well west of you. Again, it's on the western fringes of Cleveland County is where we're seeing still some weak signs of rotation, and that has prompted the tornado warning up until about 1:30. And let's see, now they have just extended the warning to 2:15. They've also included Burke, Catawba, Cleveland, Lincoln, and Rutherford are now all added to that warning. So that tornado warning not only extended in time, but also expanded in space. Burke, Catawba, Cleveland, Lincoln, all added now. Tornado warning goes until 2:15. So you can hear the alarms going off there in the Weather Center, indicating that things have been updated. Now, give you a closer look at where we're seeing the greatest wind shear with this particular storm, and it's right there again along the Cleveland-Rutherford County line. It's basically, I'll get some street names on here for you. That's U.S. Highway 74 right there. And then off to the north, we've got, that is U.S. Highway, or that is rather State Highway 226. So in between those two is where we're seeing the greatest shear. And so far, this is still just a Doppler indicated tornado. Let me just double check with the National Weather Service, make sure that they haven't seen any reports or heard of any reports. Yes, so far it's just a Doppler indicated tornado. As we pointed out, it's about 9 miles west of Shelby, moving northeast now at 40. They say a tornado is likely developing, but so far, yes, this is just a Doppler indicated tornado. So basically what that means is, looking at the radar, as we were pointing out, it's got some weak indications of rotation, strong indications of wind shear. Those two things usually mean that a tornado is developing, but so far no confirmation that there's actually one on the ground. So there's a look at the radar, the regular radar, and again, it looks like very, very heavy rain with this. So that is the other concern. Torrential rainfall in Cleveland and Rutherford County. Rainfall rates on the order of about 4 inches per hour. So do look out for that. And this is the first batch of rain that we're going to get today. So flooding could be a concern as these storms continue to pile up as we head throughout the day. Again, tornado warning now for Rutherford, Cleveland, Lincoln, Burke, Catawba counties, all those areas shaded in red. That goes until 2:15. That is the latest from the Weather Center. Eric, do you have more on the Cannon situation?
Let's wrap that up, and certainly you can tune in for Rob throughout the day. He'll have all those weather updates. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? All right, so here's the latest on Patrick Cannon. Again, sentenced to 44 months in federal prison. Still to be decided when he is going to report to prison. But again, 44 months, 3 years.
stand by for important weather information.
The National Weather Service in Greenville-Spartanburg has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Burke County in western North Carolina, western Catawba County in the Piedmont of North Carolina,